Hey guys, in this episode I'm hunting Canada geese in Minnesota, and then there's also one hunt in Wisconsin. All the hunts take place during the first week of early season back in September 2018. I never did anything with the footage because none of the hunts were that great as far as shooting big piles of birds and getting it all on camera, so I figured it was all worthless, but I still think there's some value in it, at least from a learning perspective if nothing else. Early season geese can be very unpredictable, and a lot of the hunts are feast or famine. From hunting the X or running traffic, local birds or molt migrators, it all changes how you should approach setting up for each hunt. I'm going to explain the situation specific to each of the hunts and then talk about what I would have done differently, if anything. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do and the birds will love you, and on other days, no matter what you try, the birds want nothing to do with you. Stay tuned as we analyze some of the different aspects of these 4 hunts. Hopefully there's something to learn for everyone on all skill levels. Thanks for watching, guys. So this right here, this is back in July of 2018. Just some preseason scouting. This is watching birds down at the sanctuary. Looking at one of the domestic goose crossed with the Canada Goose. There's always a couple of them down there. Alright, so for this hunt, we're hunting a picked sweet corn field. This is opening morning, and it stormed like a thunderstorm the night before. Got a bunch of rain, and it was really muddy out there.
I'll put the first, put the middle one.
So we were waiting out there for a while, and it was getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and there was no birds flying. So we were getting pretty nervous, but eventually a few started to trickle out. Since it was opening morning, I'm not sure if the roost got jumped or if the storm displaced birds or just had them hold tight longer. I'm not really sure what the case is there, but definitely something was out of the norm that morning. Probably the storm if I had to guess. Well, this first 3-pack comes out, and it was kind of the story of the morning. It was only a few flocks that actually came back to the field, and when they did come back, they all wanted to land out in the middle, which is something I've seen a lot, especially in the early seasons. Seems like birds do not want to land by other birds, so that's something you have to deal with. The other problem we had with this is the field was huge. It was like a 200-acre cornfield, and with the amount of people we had, and just in general, we didn't want to hide out in the middle, so we went to the edge of the field, put the blinds up against the standing beams, and used that for a backdrop. So our hide was good, but we had to battle trying to grab and pull birds in to us. We had that 3-pack come out, and then there was one bigger flock that we got a few out of, but most of the birds didn't come back, and the ones that did wanted to land out in the middle of the field. If I was going to do this hunt over again, there's not a whole lot I think we could really do differently to increase any of our chances with much of it, but I would have probably used less decoys. I would have still went to the edge because that's just my opinion. I think I know the birds want to be out in the middle, but it's not going to do you a lot of good unless you have a really good hide, and with that field I just didn't feel comfortable trying to have that many people out there. We had some younger kids and all that, so it's just all different things that need to be considered when you're setting it up. So for this hunt, we're in Wisconsin. We're hunting like a hay field. There might have been like a mix of like hay and wheat or something like that, but a green field. It's partly an X, partly a traffic spot. There's a pasture that is on the other side of the neighboring field to this field, and they use that as a loaf. And then there were also some birds in here feeding. There was quite a few in here actually the day before. So initially we started out putting the blinds out in the middle of the field, kind of like where most of the birds were, which is typically what you would do. There was like 5 or 6 of us, so we weren't too worried about not being able to hide that many people out there. The hide was pretty decent, nothing crazy good. There was no fence line or anything. It was all just kind of seamless into the next field, but we set up kind of in the corner. But out in the field, probably 60, 70 yards, and tried that for the first few flocks, and they weren't having it. So then we moved the blinds further down towards the tree line, and we got some high shots doing that, and then we moved the blinds into the trees and finished the hunt that way. None of it really made a huge difference, really.
Fly over where she goes. Shoot them both and they fly over. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna kill this one. Shoot this one and we fly over.
I had already tried a couple different calls. I tried my flute, tried no calling here. The morning we started out, we had no wind, and I remember thinking that was part of the issue. But as the morning picked up, we had wind, and they still weren't too crazy about us. So this is where we moved the blinds to after the first spot. This was like maybe 50, 60 yards from the end of that tree line. It was kind of like the fence line was trees and it ended right there. So we were like 50, 60 yards off the end of that. So there was open field behind us, open field in front of us, and also to our right. So basically everything was pretty much wide open except to our left. They were just really decoy shy. It seemed like no matter what we did, after getting out of the decoys completely with the layout blinds, it obviously takes that out of the equation. So after that, it's like, well, what's the reason they're not liking us? So we tried all different kinds of calling. Obviously, we moved the blinds 3 times, then we went into the trees and they were still doing it. There was no silhouettes out there, nothing like that. We had all full bodies, nice, fully flocked avians, so it was none of that. So I'm not sure what these birds really did not like.
Drop one goose out of the 4-pack.
Ding one.
He'd fly over the guy. Take 2 backs, huh?
It's the early season. Sometimes you gotta do it. For the lefty.
Alright. I got that. You could shoot them through the trees, but literally maple leafing right at us.
Done. Should I get up?
Yeah, I was good. There's balls. Another we got a really nice line. Ready. Take it. We might be able to fold one. Okay, there's another. I'll bet you.
They're gonna turn, they're gonna bang.
So this to me is one of the hunts that I would say I don't know what I would do differently. Just looking back at it, we did try a lot of different things. We were out there for a while. You can tell by we had all the conditions. We started out with no wind, and then it was windy, it was cloudy, it was sunny. We hunted until like 11 o'clock. So we had birds that were coming out to feed, then birds that were coming back from a loaf or heading to a loaf, bouncing water. So we kind of saw it all, and no matter what we did, none of it really worked out. It was still a really nice hunt. I mean, beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, and I mean, you can't beat that. And I think we killed like 11 or 12, so I mean, it wasn't a complete bust, but definitely frustrating because there was a lot of birds that came out and gave us looks, but we never were able to really put one back flapping in the decoys. So for this hunt, we are back in Minnesota, not too far from my hometown. This field is this is a pick sweet corn field. It has had birds in it, but they've been inconsistent, so we thought we'd give it a shot. Some mornings there would be birds in it, some mornings there wouldn't be any. But there was a couple hundred using it in total. They're really spread out. One flock, there'd be 20, 30, 40 of them in a bunch. Then on the other end of the field, there'd be a bunch. So instead of going out into the middle and doing layout blinds, we thought we'd take advantage of the standing corn hide since there were some birds up in this corner the day before, actually the evening before this hunt. So because the birds had been all over in the field and not super consistent with a pattern, we threw a little bit bigger spread. We have the full bodies and the silhouettes just to give us some visibility and help pull birds to us. That's why we threw out a handful of black and whites and mixed them in there as well. Another thing to note is the field was pretty huge, like 250, 300 acre field. So we had that going against us again as well. So this was the only flock we saw that morning. Nothing else came back. And honestly, I don't even think these birds planned on coming to this field. It looked like they were just on their way by, hopping water or going to a different feed. So we came back that evening with a smaller spread to see what would happen.
Watch this flock here over right behind this grove. That one flock was kind of getting. They weren't coming at us, but they went that way, and sometimes you never know. They're still coming right at us.
Bad call, Adam. There's something big going down.
Go.
They're coming right back at us. Yeah, they're probably gonna get hard right on their side.
They're gonna go land in that pole. All right. Hey. It's not working. I don't want these four to get wigged out. And then one's still eating.
I know it seems like a lot of calling, but that's what it took to get them from landing on that other end and to bring them over. The tough part is sometimes they don't always want to hear it all the way till they're to the decoys. Sometimes you have to back that off, and sometimes you can lose them when you're doing that. It's tougher, I feel like, when it's not windy. When it's windy, I feel like your sound is more muffled and they're more prone to come a lot closer to that. But as you can tell here, that there was a little bit of a breeze, but there was not like a strong wind by any means. And I feel like it hurt us not having any full bodies out this evening, because we hunted it that morning, pulled the spread, and then went back there to give it a shot for an afternoon hunt. And we were lazy and just went out there with silhouettes and no full bodies. And I think, considering the conditions and then the fact that it's a blonde field with the sun, I think you just get too much glare out of a silhouette. And I think that hurt us. I think that's why these birds landed short. They wanted to be there, but something just wasn't right. I also think more wind would have helped make the birds just naturally want to be closer to the standing corn too. There wasn't a ton of birds to work with, but there was a few.
I was thinking those four. We're gonna shoot. Got close. Got real close on those.
To yell and take them?
No, walked out at them as far as we could.
Oh.
And then when they got up, shoot 3 times at them. And just hope one of us dinged one. I thought they were going to come across like that one time and then circle back behind us. They came over us like that, dude, at 40, 50. We're banging. I thought that goose on the far right that landed in that 4-pack had a white neck color. I have to look at the camera.
Yeah, there's no way.
Things I would have changed for this hunt is definitely would have used full bodies. Honestly, even if we just brought 5 of them out there, 5 to 10, I mean, all the way up to 2 or 3 dozen, but just went with full bodies. And not that silhouettes don't have their place, but like I said, I just think that with the yellow, or I call them blonde, cornfield, and then the blue skies and all that sunlight, I think they just reflect too much. And I think a small spread of full bodies would have been all that you needed here. These birds either came out and looked at us or wanted to land on the other end of the field, so pretty much, like I said, when we scouted it, they were pretty unpredictable and probably just coming in here in the evenings. So for this hunt, we are hunting a plowed wheat field. It had some birds in it earlier in the season and actually even before the season. Once the farmer plowed the field, the birds kind of quit coming back to it. We saw them in there a few times, but not daily. There was a chance of northwest winds this morning, so we threw some black and whites and some more silhouettes out just to give us some more visibility in case that happened. So we were using a mix of full bodies and silhouettes. The hide was standing corn on the north side, so we were set up good if there were any migrators, which there ended up being a couple flocks of migrators. 1 or 2 flocks of the locals, or the birds that were using the field as an X, came back and we shot a few out of that. We didn't get everything on film, but we did get 1 or 2 good flocks of migrators coming in. This was the big go big or go home moment right here. Looking back at it, it was pretty ballsy not to take that shot when they're right on top, but as you can see, the gamble paid off. They got in there nice and tight, just how you want them.
Kill him! Yeah! Shoot!
I think so, yeah. There was one that got hit, but I think he got away. Yeah.
Tackle him.
Don't move. Kill him. Somebody get after that one. Leg day.
All in all, this turned out to be a pretty good hunt. Being aware of the weather and knowing that there was a possibility for some migrating winds also made the big difference for this hunt. We knew what we were getting into with the local birds and how irregular they've been with coming to this field. So it was good to have the migrators to fall back on. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be posting more videos like this. All things waterfowl hunting.